Well, welcome everybody. We're so happy everyone's here and we got a chance to connect. We're going to go back to the deck and talk a little bit about what it is that we do or have done and what brought us here. So for that, I'm going to turn it over to Bob.
All right. Hey, everybody. As you heard, we're from the Everyone Graduate Center, and we've been working. We're an applied research development and dissemination center at the School of Education at Johns Hopkins. And for the last 7 years, we've been working with schools and districts and states, these 5 great states you can see here, including our friends in New Mexico and New York, on high school redesign. And we thought it was time, we thought we've learned a lot from that we would share it more broadly and invite middle and high schools across the country to sort of join in the process. And the real big idea behind this is that the high schools most of us went to were designed for the different century, the 20th century. And even before the pandemic, it was clear we needed new designs for a new century. The pandemic accelerated our needs to have, schools that work for everyone and puts everyone on a pathway to adult success. And now we have things like AI joining the party. So it's, clear more than ever that we need to sort of redesign schools for the world we live in today, not the world that, they were first designed for. So in that spirit, what we're really aiming to do, if we go to the next slide, is just really, work together to create the future. And really, the big idea is, let's create middle and high schools that are places we all want to be, that are places where our students and adults are joyful and thrive, and where all of our students has a pathway to adult success. And, the best way to do that is really to ask the folks who experience middle and high schools every day, the teachers and students and, and parents and the community members, to be the ones to figure out how to do this and to share what they're learning to, inspire and inform others. So that's the big idea. Now, if we go to the next slide, that really what this is trying to be is this national effort then to enable what's often called human-centered design, which is putting the people that the school is designed for at the forefront of designing that school. And really to be guided, to have a school redesign team that's sort of guided by insights from the community and from the evidence base, and then really bring a network of these efforts together so folks can learn from each other. Because we know it's hard to redesign alone, it's hard to improve alone. It's much more, that happens better when it happens in a community. So that's a key idea of this process, of this work also, is building that community. At the center of this is this idea of putting humans and human values at the center of it, and the idea that we want to design schools that work for everybody. And it doesn't work if it works for some but not others. It doesn't work to say too bad, make it work for you, or go somewhere else. We really need to create middle and high schools that work for everyone, and everyone has to feel a part of that, of being in that school and being in the creation of that school. All right. Excellent. So that's a nice theory. Hopefully inspiring. But what does it really mean? What are we really talking about when we say a national redesign, school redesign showcase? So the basic idea here is that we're inviting teams, and a team can be a couple of teachers working with a group of students supported by an administrator, or it could be a much larger thing involving community members and parents in a bigger school effort. And really the idea is they're going to try to do a redesign, but it can be just a piece of the school to start. We're not saying we have to redesign the whole school. We're saying to invite people into this process, you might start with changing a school experience, or giving some more choice and voice in a certain area, or changing how the school day starts. Something that's significant, that people can say, this would make our school better, it would make it a place we want to be, it would make a place that's more likely to put everyone on a pathway to adult success. And it's sort of a first important step in that process. And then we're saying to do that, for those that want to join this process, we're asking you to commit to 3 design sessions with our Everyone Graduate Center that will be in September through January. It's designed so they will be all together, but for those that can't be there, you can also sort of do it on your own asynchronously. And then once they've gone through that design process, your design team has gone through that design process with us and done a lot of work in between at your school, making something that works for your school. We're going to ask people to share what they came up with the other schools in the community in February. And then the final piece of our National Redesign Showcase, we go to the next slide, is that representatives from at least 20 teams, so 4 people representing up to 20 teams, will be able to support their travel to come to Washington, D.C. in May for sort of an all-day, that's our showcase, our national showcase, where they'll be able to see what the other schools did, but also share their insights, their learnings, their redesigns with members of the sort of Washington, D.C. educational policy crowd, people from the U.S. Department of Education, from Congress. And the idea here, right, is so often, folks that work in schools, rightly, and when we're there with them, will say, we're told to do these things. We don't know who decides to do them. We don't think they know a lot about schools, but they're just telling us these are the things we need to do to make our schools better. And at the same time, when we work with some of our friends in Congress, the Department of Education, they will say, it's actually hard for us to connect and be in schools because we're here in DC, we don't have a lot of ability to travel. We would like ways to hear more from them directly. So the idea is at the end of our showcase, bring the schools and the educational policy makers together so the people that are doing the work at the schools can really inform the policymakers about what is possible. What are some things we can do that would make our schools better and stronger? And for those that's not able or doesn't work, you could also there'll be an option to do a video presentation. So you could participate either in person or virtually, depending on what works best for everybody. All right, next slide. And then the final piece of this puzzle, before I turn it over to Linda to get into some more even deeper details, is that our vision of this is that every year the showcase will have a different theme, right? So this is sort of like a way to create a version of a science fair, but for school redesign, right? This idea there's a theme for the year, everybody works on it, and they come together and share what they did. So our first theme for our inaugural redesign showcase is this idea of how do we design a middle school or high school which enables all students and adults to experience agency, belonging, and connectedness. And this is really coming out of what we've observed as our sort of pressing needs out of the pandemic, right? There's been a big growth of disconnection of students and to a degree teachers, right? And we didn't really know how important those human connections were to make schools thrive until the pandemic sort of broke them, right? And now we have to sort of rebuild them. So how do we design schools to really promote those key things that we know, make schools where people really want to be? And again, as we're saying, we're focusing to focus on one or more of these areas, agency, belonging, connectedness, or you could do a combination, or as you'll say, we don't have a lot of rules. If you have even a better idea you want to design around, that's okay too. And the thing was, we just want to stress, so this doesn't seem overwhelming, is that this really can just be through a new experience, some sort of small or bigger change to the school day, some way to have more voice and choice, or another way that sort of increases the feeling of agency, belonging, or connectedness among students and adults in your school. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Linda just to go a little deeper into a few of these pieces.
Okay, thanks, Bob. We're going to go to the next slide, Jerry. There's no rush, Jerry. All right. So those of you who've worked with us for a long time are real familiar with our ABCs, right? Attendance, behavior, and course performance. And what we know is that attendance, behavior, and course performance are symptoms. They're indicators, right? And what they're indicators of is whether or not the humans in that school are experiencing agency, belonging, or connectedness. So that's why we chose that for this theme for this first year. So just so that we'll be kind of in the same space, because there's a lot of integration with these terms, right? We see agency as the ability to take action. And it's also the ability to choose what action am I going to take. Okay. Belonging means I can come just the way I am, and I'm accepted as an equal participant in how things are created. And then connectedness means that I can engage in meaningful to me activities with supportive adults and peers. And in that space, I'm seen, I'm heard, and I'm valued. Okay. There's a lot of overlap. You can't do this wrong. If you decide to form a team, you and your team will think about, well, I wonder if any of these kind of resonate with us, right? So for agency, maybe that's something that really resonates and you're looking for some way, some practice, some experience that allows your school community to promote agency for everyone. A sense of everyone feeling they have the power to make a difference, okay? On the graphic, it just shows a continuum of voice, right? Because it's really showing us, right, that a lot of the things we do in school kind of discount agency. And what we're really looking at is agency means everybody's a learner and everybody's a leader. Okay, we can go to the next one, Jerry. Or belonging might be the thing on my campus, right? And our friend John Powell from the Othering and Belonging Institute at UC Berkeley offers us this definition, which is so powerful, and we use it often. Belonging entails being respected at a basic level that includes the right to both co-create and make demands upon society. So in other words, belonging doesn't mean I just get invited to the table. It means I get to decide with others what is going to be on that table or when that table gathering is going to happen, right? That's what belonging is referring to. And then last, but certainly not least, is connectedness. And a lot of times we hear people saying that the world is so much more connected now because of technology. And so this graphic kind of asks us, think about that. Think about communication with technology, right? And it's very, very true. We're exchanging a lot more information in a lot of different ways and in a lot of wider spans, right? But that isn't the same as connection, right? Connection is a feeling, right? And it's an ease and a shared understanding. So here we refer to Brene Brown's work and her definition where she shares with us the connections why we're here. Our population is diverse, right? The only way we can come to know and appreciate each other's uniqueness is through connection. And that kind of says it all. So we hope you're a little bit interested. And if you are, I want to give you just a little bit of the loose structure, and then the rest of the time is for you to explore and question and answer. We can go to the next one. The first thing that you would do is decide, okay, well, who would be the point of contact for this, right? Who's the person that says, yes, I think this is worth a worthwhile engagement. And that point of contact will be the person that kind of makes sure everything is moving along. You're then going to form a design team. We're suggesting 3 to 8 people, but you can't do it wrong. I've already heard from people that say they're going to do it as part of a particular class, right? And the whole class is going to be involved. Is that wrong? No, you can't do it wrong. It could be a couple of kids that are just interested in it, right? Could be student government that's interested in it. Could be the PTA is interested in it. Whatever it might be, we do want it to include students. Okay. But other than that, there's no parameters. Okay. You're thinking about who are the humans that can give you unique information and perspective about what are the things that empower agency, belonging, and connectedness, and what are the things at school that flatten those things, right? And then how might we come together to make some shifts around that? So a point of contact, form a team, You're going to share that point of contact with me at my email, and we'll put it again, and you'll get a email afterwards again. But my email is mlinda@jhu.edu. And what you will share with me is, this is our contact person, this is our point of contact, and here's the names of the people that are going to be on our team. Will you go to the next one, Jerry? As Bob mentioned, the ask is 3 virtual design sessions, and then 1 that is going to be like a sharing of what we prototyped and tested. Okay, so the 3 virtual design session dates are on the screen right now. One's in October, one's in November, and one's in December. We have them paced out for an hour and 15 minutes. They're really us setting up a method and a prompt, and you working with your team, all virtually, right? And then we'll come back together, and then a little group dialogue, and then more of the same. That's how those hour and 15-minute sessions will go. And then February 6th is really across the teams to say, hey, we did this. We thought it would be great. Maybe it wasn't so great. Now we think we don't want to do that. Whatever that might be, right? But the idea being that we're a network. And so the plus of this is I get to benefit from a lot of ideas, and I get to have a lot of dialogue. Okay, we'll go one more, Jerry. Oh, we can go to the gallery view. So now it's your turn. What do you not know still that you would want to know?
And Linda, the other thing is that the first point to go to remind them is the website. The website is rich in lots of resources and ideas.
We will put in the chat the website link. Michelle already did it. Michelle already did it. Thank you. And resources, information. Once we process these sessions, they'll be on there as well. What do you want to know? What do you want to talk about?
Let's see if it works, Nettie. Use the chat.
The chat.
Go ahead, John.
Context. So in terms of, are you looking more from beginning design? Or are you looking for something where the culture of the new ABCs is already established and you're building upon that? Or is there a particular phase of the process that you're trying to hone in on?
We're just looking for people that are interested in giving it a try and are sort of committed to sort of, trying to, try to, enough of a commitment to the idea that they're willing to go, come to the sessions and participate and see where it takes them. But you could be beginning, you can be advanced. That's all good. And we like a mix.
Okay.
I'm going to be Nettie's voice. Hi, everyone. I'm with Portland Public Schools, working with the Multiple Pathways Department. We're designing a new alternative high school.
Excellent.
So cool. An options school. How neat.
So I maybe have a question, but you can just table this to an individual conversation if that's easier, because you guys know New York more specifically. So would you envision, I forget all the different ways that you guys communicate this in the list of people that you guys communicated to, but would you envision like potentially us reaching out to HSR cohorts from the past, and from the past just means previous years, because New York is different this year. Did you have like a thought about what that would look like? Or like I said, table this for an individual conversation too, if it's just too specific to us.
No, this is our information session, and people, as you see, are coming both directly from schools, but also from departments or organizations that represent potentially multiple schools. So if you think this is beneficial to one or more of the schools that you've worked with, absolutely pass it along to them. And send the recording and the website, and this is an open door. Anyone can participate from any vantage point, and there's really no wrong way to be engaged, as long as you're interested.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
More from Nettie. our grant is ending, will you, this network, explore together how to fund design elements and innovations that emerge from this process? Oh, I'll have to turn that over to the great funder. I pretend they're just green strips of paper, so let you speak to that.
Well, so Nettie, we are trying to sort of launch like a national redesign movement. And if we actually can show people that schools are interested, this is a thing that authentically interests schools, and we bring them to DC and we have this nice showcase, and then we show that, wow, and all these policymakers showed up and heard from the schools directly, then we're in a position for that to happen.
You have to say this, with our work with high school redesign and all of our work, so many of the small shifts that make a big difference don't cost anything.
Yeah, so I got kind of like a particular question. So we're working on developing a new school, but we currently have a CT center with students. I want the work that we do not only dreams about the future, but also impacts the current kids that we have. In some grants, there's all these deliverables and things like that. And I'm worried sometimes we bite off more than we can chew. And you guys have said start kind of small. So would it be better to kind of do something that's actionable that we can see results from this year, or maybe more like empathy interview planning of the future for the design of this school in August of 25? Any advice on kind of that?
So again, I think either way could work, but my recommendation would be actually have some people go through the experience, prototype something that they can actually implement and see the benefits from. Because really what we've learned, Milo, and even some of it, is that the people that work on these redesign teams get so much agency from it. And particularly when there's interaction between students and teachers, we basically found that places that involve students more did the most ambitious designs. And in a way, the fact that the students showed the teachers they'd be with it gave the teachers courage to do it, because sometimes the teacher's fear is, oh, we might do this and the students might not come along, and so we did find that the big benefit is in the doing of it, and doing it of a scale that makes sense for where you are right now. And that's why we're trying in this effort. We've done some other efforts, but much more comprehensive and tied to various accountability structures. This is like open to wherever you are, and really encouraging folks just to take a size that makes sense for them, where they can actually, tangibly see the benefits of doing the work.
You don't have to decide now. You certainly can, like Bob had mentioned, there's so many resources on the website. And one of the things is the explainer video that you saw that probably got you here. But there's also other information. And it's really just, if there are people on your campuses or the campuses you serve that go, oh yeah, this would be neat. Yeah, we'd like to try that. It's really, from a time point of view, they're 75-minute sessions, but there is follow-up, right? And it will be as rich as what you guys do with regard to engaging other people, and getting that additional information to be able to really bring to life what it is that you want to try out. But it's kind of a limited ask. And with regard to the DC, we just feel like that might be something that some schools are very excited about. It may be something that other schools are like, no, we would not want to go there. And that's okay. But again, just to make sure that we're really being straightforward about it, we have the funding to fund 24-person teams. So if there are more teams than that want to come, we are going to say the more the merrier, and we're going to help try to figure out how to get the dollars to do it. But that's the money we actually have.
Can students be a part of that team that travel to DC?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the school itself feels that's appropriate, that's fine. And that's why we actually built in the 4, recognize that could be a student, a chaperone, a teacher, an administrator, because they're just representatives. It's not the whole team, but they'll be like sort of representatives of the team.
And is there a way we could get a copy of this PowerPoint? I'd love to share this in my staff PLC as we're looking at a lot of these things. And I think this is just really going to help us guide kind of that student voice and agency going forward. So.
I have a question for Linda or Bob or whichever of the team.
Yeah.
We're noticing that the first session is coming up really soon in October. What's the deadline because we're at the county,
Right.
so we don't have our own students, our own school staff, but we certainly work with schools, and we would want to reach out and see and share this information and get their interest. What's the deadline for submitting interest?
You probably want to start October 17th, so probably October 17th.
To the 16th. And the
Or the
truth is, like,
17th.
Okay, sure. You can sign up on the day. It's just like voting. We have like same day voting. You can register and vote. But I'm also like, talk to us. If the deadline's a real thing and you have a couple of interested schools, it doesn't, we may well be ending up running other sessions. I'm not saying we are, but it could be, you may not be the only one in that boat. So if you're saying like, I have a couple of schools that be really interested, but it's going to take us till like November 1st to get it there, just let us know that, and we'll try to work with you. Because there may well be other people in that boat, and we have the flexibility to
That's really helpful, because we're at the end of, it feels like we're at the end of September already.
I know. Yeah.
So if we at the county, if we are able to get a school, 2 schools involved, would it be possible for us to come alongside them, participate, and also
Sure.
learn, so we can, like, in between these sessions, we can support their implementation?
Yep. Absolutely. All we ask is that we actually like, and this might be for Martha and others too in that role, like we absolutely welcome like state departments or county agencies or nonprofits to be part of the team and be part of the process and help support them. You just need to have a team to be there. Like we can't have people just being observers. We want everyone to be participants. But if you're part of a team, we welcome you to from any level of the work to join the party.
Bob, Linda, Sean put in the chat, he wanted to know if they could take more members, but if they were able
Yes.
to
Yes.
pay for it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Again, that's what we recognize. We recognize some people might really be excited and could fundraise and bring a bigger team. That'd be great. Others might bring a small team. Some might want to send a video. We're trying to make it accessible at different levels for different places.
And the funding, Bob worked it out so that it's 2 nights in DC. So that way the teams can spend a good part of a day with the policymakers, but have a day to enjoy the sights of DC as well. I put my email in the chat, and I also put this PowerPoint in the chat. And I think if you want it again, we can put the website in too. Oh, Michelle had it. Thank you, Michelle. Well, we don't want to hold anybody up. So if you don't have any other thoughts or inquiries, or if you do later, feel free to reach out or email. We have for Nettie, are there examples of approaches or fully redesigned schools available, or will they be introduced through the process? So for approaches, we're leaning very heavy on design thinking and liberatory design approaches. And with the prompts designed so that they highlight the agency belonging and connectedness mindsets. So it's empathy interviewing, it's storyboarding, it's prototyping, it's getting together with your team and brainstorming, and then going from that brainstorm to amplify and create and sunset. So those would be the approaches. And we have lots of evidence-based structures on our CSHSC website, but this is really about what will emerge from the team and from their dialogues with the community.
But if you go to our cross-state high school redesign website, which is the project this came out of, that was really around sort of complete school redesign efforts. And there's a lot of examples from all over the place there.
So I have a question. The sessions, the first session, we don't need to come already with an idea. The facilitated sessions is going to help us develop our idea as we move forward. Okay, cool. I'm like already trying to think what we're going to do. And that's perfect. So
That's great.
Kind of asking you to resonate with either agency belonging or connectedness. But again, there's a lot of overlap. One of the methods we'll go through is how to generate a how might we question that you feel happy about.
Just one, Bob, I know that those 5 states that were listed didn't have Georgia in there, so it's okay if we had a team from Georgia?
Oh yeah, no, that's just that was where that was our starting point. Now we're going to open to everybody. Even,
I just want to make sure,
Georgia's
before
welcome, John.
Didn't we say that like Georgia would have to do some form of like interpretive dance or something?
Look, we know how to play football here, but I don't know about that dancing stuff.
Well, we thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your time and energy. We appreciate your considering us. We enjoyed our time with you. And in the words of the great Bob Belfance, be well and onward.